Hi, Hillside. Pastor Ron here, along with our new council president, Daryl Sieplinga. And we wanted to give you an update on last night's council meeting. But before we did that, we wanted to just say a few words about, Pastor George. Many of you have probably heard already that Pastor George died yesterday afternoon, and it's just a sad day for many of us at Hillside. For those of you who didn't know Pastor George well, he was an amazing guy, a very large personality, and just a wonderful pastor. He came to Hillside along with his wife Eunice and their sons Rob and Todd and John. They came to Hillside in 1986, right at the beginning of the year, in January of that year. And it was a time when Hillside was struggling. Things were not going real well for the church, but George provided strong, passionate leadership, and really Hillside began to grow and became a lot healthier church. And it was just exciting to see all of that happening. George had a passion for outreach. He cared deeply about people who were outside of the church. He himself spent some time through some of his college years having walked away really from the Lord and then coming back, and he had a heart for those who were out there. And he wanted Hillside to be a place, and he called us to be a place where those who didn't fit in could find a home and be loved and accepted. He was instrumental, essential, really, in this building in which we currently worship being built in 1990. Already, even by then, already they had talked some about building, but it really took George to get the ball rolling and get things going, happening, and so he was instrumental in that. So important. I could tell you so many different stories about George. He served here till 2010. All right, and so I started in 1990, so I worked with him for 20 years. I could tell you so many stories about George, but just one more thing I wanted to mention, and that is what we call Streams of Hope, the community center over on 60th Street near Division Avenue. That was really George's baby. He felt God's calling on that, and I don't think it would have happened at all, much less become what it's become today with the food pantry and the medical center and dental work and tutoring and mentoring and job training and kids' sports camps and so many things. And it was George and his just sense that God was calling us to be in that area, and others who already started ministry things in that area. And so that was kind of his baby. The funeral for George is going to take place here at Hillside on September 2. That's a Saturday, September 2 at 11 o'clock. There will be a lunch after, and before there will be an hour of visitation, and then the Friday evening before, so September 1 from 6 to 8, there will be a visitation as well. And again, just ask you to keep everybody in your prayers, Eunice, and again, the boys and their wives and their kids during this time of loss. And thank God for Pastor George and the impact he had on our lives.
Thanks, Ron. And while I did not know George well, his legacy certainly lives on in Hillside and through us and through you, Ron. So our prayers, particularly with you, because he had a special impact, I know, on your life and ministry too. We've got a number of things from the council meeting to report on. I think one of the first is just to center around the programmatic side of what's been happening and what is about to happen in Hillside. So first of all, we just spent some time celebrating great things that happened throughout the summer, from VBS to Streams Camp and Moms in the Word and ending with Anchored. Those great things that we celebrated, and both the leadership and the staff side and the volunteers that made that happen. We celebrated and prayed in Thanksgiving about that. We also then talked about what's happening next, and that is we're ready to kick off a really busy fall season and all that that means relative to kids programs and reinvigoration of adult programs and others, and we're excited about that. Thankful for what is about to happen, the celebration on September 17th to kind of kick off those programs formally. Couple of things to make note of. If your kids haven't been registered for classes, there's an opportunity to do that, and links are provided in this message. Also, you should be aware that we still are in need of some volunteers for some key and critical spaces. So as you consider how you're thinking about your stewardship of time and resources. That time is really an important stewardship piece too, and so think about volunteering there, and there's an opportunity to do that.
All right. Yeah, one of the things that we are doing that'll be exciting for us this fall is we've added some help for Kirk in his work with the middle schoolers and the high schoolers. You may remember that Kirk was doing middle school and then added on some men's ministry items. Well, he's also added on high school now, and we said, Kirk, we know you're good, but you're going to need some help. So we're really excited that Jen Taylor has agreed to step up. She's been volunteering for years with Kirk in middle school programming and so on, and so it's really exciting to be able to welcome Jen on board in a more official capacity. So tell her congratulations.
The council has decided that at each meeting we kind of take a special segment to center on a particular topic, and this month we centered on how we as a council can best serve and lead, and what our functions are, and clarifying our roles, and spent a good deal of time discussing that, how we can enhance what we're already doing well, and what are some areas that we should maybe elevate for our work. So a good time of reflection and action on that was spent at this particular council meeting.
Yeah. Two other things I want to mention, and then we'll wrap it up. But one of them is the Employee Retention Credit Funds. We've talked about these monies before. It's money we receive back from taxes that we've paid in on employees and so on. And because of COVID and so on, we were able to recoup some of that money, and we'll keep you posted on how we're using it. But we've got three things that we approved last evening. One of them is some space for the youth, for the middle schoolers and high schoolers. Kirk feels like it's going to be important for them. We don't want to relegate them somewhere because we are a family, but we also want to give them a space that they can own. And so what's currently the kindergarten room on the southwest corner of the building is going to become really a middle school and a high school place where they can hang out and just spend time together, gather for their meetings, and their meals together and so on. So we're really excited about that, and Kirk is as well, and Jen is as well. So we got to remember the team there. And then the second thing that we had talked about there was to create a little better space for videos like this. Mark has worked real hard to make these things happen, and we recognize that it's going to be more and happening more and more. For information like this, for teaching opportunities, for announcements. We're excited about doing that. And then also some money for some of the worship team folks needed. We needed some new monitor things. Beyond that, I don't understand it all, but we're going to get some help in that area as well. And then also we touched last night on Synod of 2023. For those of you for whom that is a strange term, that's okay. When our denomination, the Christian Reformed Church, we have local churches, and then they join together to form a classis. And then every year in the summertime, each classis sends 4 people representing the classis to what we call Synod. And those meetings take place for a week. And one of the matters, we'll fill you in on anything they decided, but one of the matters they talked about again this year, they did it last year, was the Human Sexuality Report. And just want to make sure you're up to date on that and understanding what's going on with that, and kind of what the council is thinking about. And we also want to make sure we get your thoughts on it. So if you want to be at a meeting at that, we're going to get together on September 24th. That's a Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock. We'll do it in one of the rooms with Zoom capabilities. So if you can't make it to the meeting itself, we'll have a Zoom, and we'll also have a recording of it, and we'll just spend some time filling you in and talking about what's going on with Synod and how it impacts us at Hillside.
Thanks, Ron. Finally, we did spend a bit of time at council, although it's very early in the budget year, but we did spend a little bit of time reviewing the current budget as it's been unfolding through the new part of the year. And early stages we're really thankful for the great stewardship and financial support of the congregation. We're in good shape at the start of the year, and we're thankful for that and continue to look forward to ongoing great stewardship of the congregation. And then we're just thankful for each other and what we can do with and for each other as a council and as a congregation, and hope you'll join with us in praying for the leadership at Hillside, because we covet your prayers for that, and we look forward to working together in these coming months. I don't know how long I can continue to be called the new council president, but I'll take it as long as I can get it. But if you have any questions, certainly call Ron or myself, or I didn't even encourage you to call Ken Tamling, because we look forward to his continued involvement too.
So yeah, especially call Ken. That Ken would be good.
You can decide. I wanted to at least include that. 'Cause I
There
thought
you
it was
go.
important.
You got options.
Yep.